some lull in the action. I mean, it's interesting, but lull in the difficulties. We're going to from it up. The Mishnah, Lochates. Now, if you had Yevamos, who their original marriage or divorce was in doubt. Now, marriage, of course, their marriage to the brother who died, and divorce, the brother divorced them, and we're not sure if the divorce was a valid divorce or not. So, since we're not sure if the antecedents of the Yibum are valid, so therefore they have to chalitza, not Yibum. What would be a Safek Kiddushin to the original brother, right, which would cast in doubt the Yibum situation? Zarak la Kiddushah, so when the brother married, now the deceased brother married his original wife, this woman is now the Yevama, so he tossed the Kiddushin at her. He didn't actually it wasn't so romantic, he didn't put the ring on her finger, just tossed the Kiddushin at her and said, here, you're married. And Safek Karavlo, we're not sure if the thing he tossed landed closer to him or closer to her. If it landed closer to him, it's not a valid wedding. If it landed closer to her, it is a valid wedding, right? So in that case, that's a Sahare Zu Safek Kiddushin. That's a question of Kiddushin. Safek Gerushin, what's the case of a Safek of Gerushin? Kasav B'Ksav, before this guy died, he wrote her a get, but he wrote it in his own script, his own hand. No, his own hand. He wrote it by his own hand, his own handwriting. Aveda Love Adim, there were no witnesses on it. It was just his handwriting. Or Yeshua of Adim, it had witnesses, Vena Love's mom, but it had no date. Or Yeshbo's mom, it had a date, but it only had one witness. These are questions where these are issues where the divorce is in doubt. Now immediately Gemara clarifies that and says, no. These last three cases where he wrote in his own handwriting, or it didn't have a time on it, or it only had 1/8, these are not Safek Gerushins. They're definite Gerushins. A Gerushin Mamish. That's not Safek Gerush. They're Gerushin Mamish, meaning that they're true Gerushins Doraisa, they're not Gerushin Rabbanan. All these three scenarios are cases where the rabbis disallowed the divorce, but the divorce is effective on a Torah level. Okay? What is the Safek Gerushin? Ketzad. Safek, it seems like there's a word missing here. Ketzad, Safek Gerushin, something that's not clear, but we're trying to say what's a Safek? What's a Safek? Ketzad. Safek Kiddushin, Zarak La Kiddushah. Safek Kiddushin is, well, I guess it's Ketzad Safek Kiddushin. What's a questionable marriage? Zarak La Kiddushah, you tossed the wife the ring. Safek Karav Law, you don't know if it landed closer to her, closer to him. So Safek Kiddushin, that's a question on the marriage. So Hachan here too, by get a true Safek, a true question by get should be Zarak La Gita, you tossed her again. Safek Karav Law, you don't know if it landed closer to her, closer to him. Those are questionable Gerushin. But the case in our Mishnah, which our Mishnah mentioned, where you wrote in your handwriting, or you left out the date, or there's only one witness, those are not Safek Gerushin, those are definite Gerushins, the Raisa, and they do not work the Rabbana. Okay? Rabbi Yochanan Shen Chlafta the mean Hava. Rabbi Yochanan named Rabbi Chlafta from the town of Hava said, in all the cases mentioned in our Mishnah, since B'di'evet, since although the rabbis decreed them invalid preferentially, nevertheless, if you're up to Crete, you can use these gittin. So therefore, she got married based on these gittin. Lo teitze, she should not get divorced. In order not to, people shouldn't say that the children of her marriage are mamzerim. So therefore, if she gets married based on this get, even though she shouldn't have, we let her stay married. Now there are exceptions to this rules. We'll see in a minute. Bito shenises lashuk beged zeh. Now this is not yet an exception, but we're getting to complications on the case. Let's see this case inside. Here you had Reuven and Shimon brothers. Leah was Reuven's daughter. Leah went and married her uncle Shimon, right? Okay. Now in the meantime, so Shimon did not liking his niece, divorced her, but it was a Safek Gerushin. It was one of the questionable divorces. And then Leah went and she married Yankov, some other guy from the marketplace, not related. Then Shimon died. So what do we? In this case, we certainly are going to say that Leah's get we'll assume is a good get. Why do we want to assume it's a good get? So that Reuven can go and be miyabim Chana. In order that Reuven can go be miyabim the co-wife, so we assume that Leah's get was a good get. That way Chana is not the co-wife of an erva. She's no longer the co-wife of Leah, who's Reuven's daughter. So therefore Chana can be Misiah Bemis. So here we assume that we go and we assume that it is a good get. So it says here, Bito Shnisis Lashuk, if his daughter gets married to the marketplace, based on this get, Loteta should not leave Kedei Lasuk Tzorah Solavia, in order that her Tzorah, meaning Chana, should continue to be earmarked for her father. However, let's say in this case, the opposite case, where it's Leah, Reuven had a daughter Leah got married to his brother Shimon had a co-wife Chana, right? And Leah again underwent the Suffolk Gerushin, but she didn't get married. But since it was only a Suffolk, so Chana assumed, well, I'm still a Tzar's erva. I'm still a co-wife of an erva. But so it means I don't have to get Yibum Rachalitza by Reuven. Let me just go marry Levi, somebody else. Or let me just go marry, not Levi, somebody from the marketplace, right? So we don't allow that. In this case, we say Chana's got to get a Chalitza from Reuven or Levi, right? So she can't just go marry someone in the marketplace, all right? So as it says here, I skipped the case. Skipped the page, sorry. Same idea, but here's the page, which is more directly relates to this problem. So I say in this case, Chana tried to get married to somebody from the marketplace, we make her get divorced. Because in this case, where Leah, we don't know if she actually got divorced or not, right? So Chana can't just rely and say, well, Leah was not divorced, and therefore I can go scot-free and marry someone in the marketplace. No, Chana's first got to get Chalitza before she goes out to the marketplace. So therefore, even though Leah who's the daughter, and therefore is also Reuven, even though she underwent the Suffolk Gerushin, which is only a Suffolk, and therefore I might say, well, Chana is still the co-wife of an erva, because she's forbidden to Reuven, and therefore Chana can go marry to the marketplace. I do not say that, and Chana is forbidden to go marry the marketplace. First, Chana has to get Yibum or Chalitza. Okay? Now, that's what it says here in the next case, as I just read. So Rosh needs to shupa gets that. If Chana actually went and married Moshe from the marketplace, she's got to get divorced. She has to leave him and go back and get Chalitza, or as the care from Reuven, because perhaps she is liable to Chalitza. Bito shnitzis l'achi begetse. Now, the opposite case, you have Reuven, Shimon, and Levi, three brothers, right? And Leah again is Reuven's daughter. Leah went and married her uncle, right? And there was a Suffolk Gerushin between Shimon and Leah, right? Now Leah wants to say, well, it was only Suffolk Mikureshes, so therefore let me go and ignore the Gerushin, and let me go and be Misiah Bemis to Levi, another brother of her father, not one deceased, obviously, the other brother. So she can't do that. And the reason for that is because in both these cases, since the get is probably a valid get, so in this case, Chana cannot go marry the marketplace because the odds are, essentially, it's a get the Raisa, right? So the odds is a valid get. She's not a Tzara Serva, she's not the co-wife of an erva, so she can't go marry in the marketplace. In this case also, Leah was divorced, right? Yeah. So therefore Leah cannot go do Yibum with the brother. She's an Eishes Achim, she's a brother's wife, right? Since divorce was a valid wife for divorce. The she's not susceptible to Yibum, so she can't do it anymore. Okay? Now, one more case. So this case, Chale and Chana again, to when Chana went and married Reuven, she actually did Yibum to Reuven, right? Yeah. Okay, because she assumed Leah was divorced, and she did Yibum. So I feel la via lo tetzei. Now, in this case, even if you marry Leah's father, Reuven, she doesn't get divorced. And again, the reason for that is since Leah's get is a good get the Raisa, so therefore Chana was, according to the Raisa view, not a Tzara Serva, not the co-wife of an erva, and therefore she can remain, she can undergo Yibum to Reuven, which she does successfully, and she remains with the person whom she was Misiah Bemes to with whom she conducted the Yibum ceremony. Now, Tani, Shlosha Shtoras Govim Nechorin, the three documents, shifting gears a minute, to Choshe Mishpat, to monetary law, the three documents with which you can collect your loan based on these documents from free and clear property which has no preceding lien on it. You cannot collect your loan based on these documents from land which has any lien on it. Even though normally we say, as long as your lien precedes anybody else's lien, you can use your document to collect it. Not in this case. What are these cases? Well, actually, there are these type of cases in our Mishnah where the document was written in your own handwriting without any witnesses, or without any time, or with one witness. Okay, so those are those cases. So this Amora, whatever his name was, Rabbi Boss said that this is only if the star has not been demonstrated to be valid in the hands of the malva, in the hands of the creditor. But if it's assumed that it's a valid star and it's in the hands of the creditor, so you collect for it even from property which is under lien. And the what's called hulsak, the third court Moshe explained, where the get is one. I'm saying where the document is one, which is written in the handwriting of the debtor, and he confirms it's actually his handwriting. So then you can use it to collect even from stuff which is under lien. Rabbi Yossi said, wait a minute, of course you need the star to be sustained. If it wasn't sustained, beyond a malva in the hands of the creditor, so you can't even collect from free and clear property, right? So rather, what are we talking about here? Beyond a malva must be talking about that where the star is already considered to be valid in the hands of the creditor, and the borrower validates it, but nevertheless you cannot collect from property on the loan. Why is that? On Rabbi Bisnos, it's also in the Bavli, in several places, at least one. Because we're afraid that the borrower and creditor, the debtor and creditor in cahoots, right? That the debtor gave the creditor this document falsely in order that later on they should split the proceeds of the con and the swindle, right? So therefore, we do not. I didn't bring the word. It's on the. It's a medium-sized red Gemara on the shelf. No. I'll find a few. So what you can't collect it because we're afraid that there's a. Now we go. So these documents, these three documents, even though they technically should be okay, the document written in the handwriting of the debtor, document with one witness and debtor, and the documents which is has no date, they should be okay, but we don't allow them. You know why? Because we're afraid that there's a plot going on. There's a con. It's a scheme between the debtor and the creditor, as they're going to collect property and then split up the proceeds. Everyone says, no, it's not because we're afraid of a plot. It's just possible. Chacham says it's no good. If Chacham says it's no good, you can't use it. Now, in fact, Mark continues that it's reasonable to assume that there might be a plot where the old man was the debtor, and the old man put stuff under lien. However, what if an old man put stuff under lien? The shibit borrowed, and the son is the one who wrote the document. He put it under lien. So then it's difficult to say. You could say that the two original debtor and creditor are in cahoots, but it's difficult to say that the son of the debtor was in cahoots with the creditor after his father died. So therefore, in that case, why don't you accept the document and say that it works, even though it has deficits in it, right? Can you say in that case that there's a plot going on? Law in nation apostle. It's got to be in that case because it's Rabbanim. We never did apostle. Welcome nation apostle. So to here, it's a case because it's apostle, not because of any svara that there might be a potential setup. Tani. This is actually a proof, and we also learn our brayso. Women's gitim are no good if they don't have times or dates or not proper edus. Yisach memnei kuniyas that have anything to do with the plot. There's no plot going on here. Rather, minei shupasel, it's because Chacham said it's invalid. V'achim minei shupasel, so too any document, even the Chosh area. It's the reason why it doesn't work. Chacham said it's possible not because of any necessary scheme or plot which underlies the episode. Okay, halachiyot. Shlosh hachim. 3 brothers. 1, 2, 3. The suin shtei achios. Shlosh nachios. Noshim nachios. They married the 3 whom are not related to each other. Umei Sechel Me'em, this actually said many times in the Masechta already, but finally we have it in the Mishnah, we always have it more. Umei Sechel Me'em, and one of them died, V'osaba Maimer, Sheni Maimer, and the other guy did a Maimer on her, right, only Kedushin without full Yibum, Umeis, and then the second guy died himself, Harei L'chotzos Lo Yisamos, they both have Du Chalitza, not Yibum. Shneimar, it says, Yevama Yavo Aleh, it says, her Yavam should have relations with her. We learn that it's only one who comes to the Yavam from one deceased brother. Not one who comes from two deceased brothers. And here the one who killed Rachel only had Maimer, right? To Shimon, the second brother. So when she comes before Levi, after Shimon's death, she's coming from both brothers, Reuven and Shimon, right? So therefore, she's no good. She can't go to Levi, and since she's not good, well, Dina can't go either. Okay. That's because Rabbanan holds that Maimer makes a half a kinyan, so she's half Reuven's and half Shimon's, and that's no good. Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi Shimon, if you remember, he says either Maimer works completely or it doesn't work at all, but it doesn't take any half measures. So therefore, either one of them can be Misyabemis and the other one Choletis. They can't both be Misyabim, they can't both be Choletz. So even one a Choletz and the other as your preference is. Okay?
Question is, in Maimer, do you actually have a Ketubah and all the rest?
They don't need a Ketubah.
Okay.
But they probably did because a mimic can go real wetty, even though it's a meaningless gesture. Okay? Says more further. Ilu Shomeretz Yavam. Understand this principle in our Mishnah. Ilu Shomeretz Yavam Shnei Bnei Kama Yavmin. If you have a woman who's a Shomeretz Yavam, right? She has several brothers who are candidates to be her Yavams. She doesn't get Yibum because there are multiple candidates. So what's the problem? She comes from two deceased brothers. If she can go to many brothers, why can't she come from many brothers? Says Martan Rebechia, Eishes Echon Misyabemes. No, it says Eishes, right? Eishes means the wife of. Eishes Echon Misyabemes, the wife of one. V'lo Eishes Name Esim, not the wife of two. Nichol Chalitza Balas Maimer. I understand why I do Chalitza to Rachel. Al Shem Eishes Meisechel Misyabemes to Eishes Name Esim. Because she's the wife of two dead people. She's doubly haunted. So since she's doubly haunted, so you gotta get rid of her. So lucky we don't kill her. Why don't we let Dina get the Yibum? So it says the Gemara, Amrei Blessed Reb Meir. I tell you why it's like Reb Meir. Don't Reb Meir. Kosher ain't at miyabmeni. Ain't at miyabin tzaroso or tzarasi. In other words, anytime you can't do Yibum on one, you can't do the other one either. You're right. Theoretically, you should be able to do Dino. Tough luck. If you can't do one, you can't do the other. Hey! Imam Rabbi Lezer, if Rabbi Lezer said, many Shama Amra. Amra, he heard it from me, and he said it over my name. This is actually, I forget where, we've had actually in Bavli too. Rabbi Yochanan complained that Rabbi Lezer said a statement over in his name. No, Rabbi Meir, where is it? Rabbi Yochanan complained Rabbi Lezer said a statement over in his name, and he didn't say B'Shem Amra. Rish Lakish said many times, but since you're his Rebbe, so he doesn't always quote things in your name. He just says it over, and we all know that he's saying things in the name of his Rebbe. Does that strike a bell?
There's something similar to that in Titus, probably.
Yeah.
But it says, I think, Rama or something.
It wasn't Lezer. Okay, so maybe I'm wrong about the names. But it's the same idea. So I thought it was Rabbi Lezer and Rabbi Yochanan, but maybe I'm wrong. Okay, I'm going to have Yosef said, Mastisa Amar Kain. Our Mishnah says this. Actually, the next Mishnah. That was the next Mishnah? No, Parakir. Ben Teisha Shrev Yom Echad. You have a boy who's 9 years old. Now, a boy who's 9 years old, if he has relations, they're considered to be valid relations. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay? So what if he has relations with his Yavama? Right? So in that case, Shabbat Yivimto. The thing is, it's not, even though we can have relations, it's not, as we will see when we get there, it's not considered necessarily to be a complete marriage. Mishihitil, so now let's say he grows up. But let's say he marries another woman. Okay? After he's bar mitzvah. He waited his bar mitzvah for the next one. He got through him in his old age. If he didn't have relations with the first one, Mishahigdil, after he became an adult already, then now this boy dies. Okay, so his wives now have to undergo evil, right? So if he didn't have relations with the first one, once he died, Hashnia Ocholetzes Amisabemes. So the second one, the one whom he had relations after his bar mitzvah, she gets chalitza or evil. Harishoina, the first one, the one he had relations with before he was bar mitzvah, so she choletzes Amisabemes, only chalitza, not evil. So how can you say that? The first wife can only get, here in our case over here, in our case we say choletzes, right? We say the two wives, Dina and Rachel, both have to get chalitza, right? That's the big black circle connotes. Neither of them can undergo evil. But by the 9-year-old kid, 9-year-old who became bar mitzvah, I have to remember to say one of the girls, the older one, the second one can be misabemis. What's the difference? Why don't we say both need chalitza? It seems to be a parallel case to our case. We have one valid marriage. Here we have one valid marriage and one quasi marriage. So there you have one valid evil, the one above bar mitzvah, and one quasi evil, the one below bar mitzvah, right? So it must be hadat amar choletzes. That the case over us which says you have to chalitza on both. Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Shimon, it's Rabbi Meir who's Tanakama. Rabbi Shimon who argues on him. Rabbi Meir holds you can't do yibum to either of them. You have to chalitza on both of them. That's Rabbi Meir Shita, because he says anytime you can't be Yavim in one, you can't be Yavim the other. They're reciprocal. If you can't do one, you can't do the other. That's Rabbi Meir Shita. It's that case, however, with the little boy, where you say you can be Yavim one even though you can't do the other. That's Rabbi Shimon Rabbanan. So Rabbi Shimon and Rabbanan are arguing, and their Rabbanan hold that don't know their principle that anything you can't do even one, you can't do the even the other. But rather you can do even one even though you can't do the other. And that's why there you can do even on the girl. Excuse me. So we had relations after he became bar mitzvah.
So what's Rabbi Shimon hold?
Oh, Rabbi Shimon will hold that. A good question. I would assume that either one.
He could be miyabim.
Yeah, I don't know because we haven't done it yet. But you could say Meir Shimon says the same thing over there. He would say if he held that the bia of the cotton is like mimer, then he could say miyabim either one. So either they're both his wife, or one is his wife and one is not, right? So if they're both his wife, he can miyabim either one. If one is not his wife, so he can miyabim her too. It's just not evil. It's going to be kedushin, right? It's only if it's a quasi marriage, and it's a problem. Maybe a quasi marriage is enough that she might need chalitza, but not enough that she consider be a brother's wife who's a candidate to be married. So that would be a problem. Okay. So only a quasi marriage causes a problem. Rabbi Abun Rabbi Bistam Sherabach said, "Vushiyim ba'achaka cholatz." This is only if you did yibum first. First two yibum, according to those who allow one wife to have emes, the other would chalitza have two yibum first. But if you did chalitza first, also it's forbidden. Shemakona mimer, because maybe the mimer works. V'niftra chalitza as chavera, and therefore the chalitza works for both of them, and then you can no longer do yibum afterwards. Okay, so the yibum was supposed to come first, and chalitza afterwards, not vice versa, unless the chalitza exempt the zika, break the bonds asunder in both of the women. Okay, look it up. Shnei achim nesuim shnei achis. You have two men married to two women. I don't believe that there are actually any pictures of this, if I recall correctly. No pictures. Shnei achim nesuim shnei achis. Two boys married, two brothers married, two sisters. Zumeitz echomem, and one of them dies. A famous case, we had it already. V'achar kach meisa ishtan, then the wife of the second one died. Now bear in mind, the Yavama fell at a time when she was forbidden for Yibum, right? Because at that time she was the sister of the Yavam's wife, right? And your wife's sister now allowed to marry. So at that time she was an erva. But then you poisoned your own wife. So Shai, once you poison your wife, you're allowed to marry your sister. So normally you are, right? However, in this case, not. In this case, not because we find you for having poisoned her. That might be true, but that's not the reason. Harezo Surlav Olami, she is forbidden forever. Shaul Vanesrolav Sha'achat, since at one time she was forbidden. And Rabbi Vino Adai Dam Rabbi Hila, this is Rabbi Hila and Rabbi Yasser, Rabbi Yochanan, Loidoime Isra Chayes Yevamos, Isra Chayes Sheni Yevamos, very famous quote. It's not no comparison between the sisters who are Yevamos and sisters who are not Yevamos, because here the reason why she remains Osatim forever is because there's one time when she was Yevama, at a point in time when he could not have done Yibum on her, which is not comparable to two sisters who are not Yevamos to each other, where once one died, so you're allowed to marry the other one free and clear. Here, since before the one died, she was Yevama to you, and she was forbidden at that time, she remains forbidden for you forever, even after your own wife dies. Okay? Now, here we into this, a very 70s Gemara. Men who married two women, that was Kiddushin, right? When they came to the chuppah, it was a swinging party. They swapped the wives. Okay?
It's the New York Yankees.
In the New York Yankees, right. In the 70s, right? Isn't it in the 70s? Or before that? 60s, really?
Again, sports and Gemara.
Yeah, this is a good comparison between sports and Gemara. This one I accept. Okay. You were not Velas when Catfish Hunter died? Did you bother you?
Probably because the guy's such a young guy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
53.
53.
He had a big Levaya, 1,000 people for a Goyish Levaya. It's not a...
Picture at the swamp. This is not
Okay, sorry. You've been censored. And when they went to the chuppah, they're chai because of Eshes. Okay? Obviously. Right? Each one swapped the other guy's wife. If they're brothers, then we kill them twice. Because they swapped their own, their brother's wife for brother's wife. If they were sisters, we kill them a third time. Because of having relations with your wife's sister. We kill them because of nidos. Now, of course, they don't kill them because of all these things. Rather, they have to bring more korbanos, right? Because each one of these is a potential chai of kares, and you have to bring more korbanos. Now, after this episode, you separate them for 3 months. Shema Mubarosein, because maybe they're pregnant. And if they're pregnant, of course, kids are Ramzayim, right? If they're so young that they can't not suitable to give birth, so then I give them back to their original husbands. Now, why you give them back to the original husbands? Because the assumption is that it was a rape. I mean, for that, any time you have relations with a ketana, it's a rape, and a rape victim is allowed to go back to her husband unless her husband is, of course, a Kohen. Kohen. And therefore, if their husbands were Kohanim, then they're stuck. They're up the creek. They have to get divorced. Okay? Now, this actually, the first line of the Gemara here goes back to the previous Mishnah. If after your wife died, you had relations with her sister, right? But the sister had been a Yevama to you and forbidden at the time. Remember, that was the previous Mishnah. She felt you as a Yevama. And that time your wife is still alive, and then she became forbidden to you, and she remains awesome forever. So therefore, if you have relations, they're chayiv shtayim, you're liable on two. First one, mishum eishesach. First one, because you should not have, you should not marry your brother's wife, and this, of course, is the case where you would not apply. And if your sister's still alive, your wife is still alive, mishum mishalach, you're taking two sisters at the same time, that's forbidden. Now, getting back to our Mishnah. Tanya Bechira said, Pa'amim arba. Sometimes there are 4 gechuvim here in our Mishnah. Pa'amim shmona, sometimes there are 8. Pa'amim shteimesei, sometimes 12. Pa'amim sheisesei, sometimes 16. The whole kit and caboodle. Harei l'chayav mishum eishes ish. When there's an eishes, only the problem of eishes ish for somebody else's wife. Hayin tarti, then each one is chayav twice, right? You have 2 and 2. shouldn't say each one's chayiv twice. Each man and woman, each set of husband and wife is chayiv, so that's 2 and 2, right? Imayu achin, if they were brothers, mishum eshesach, and then there's a problem of the brother's wife, hain arba, each couple is chayiv 4. V'imiyu achos, if they were sisters, mishum yishol achosa, because marrying sisters, hain shito, that's 6, vayin shito, 6 in each one. V'imayu, now this, because that's only the husband's avera, not the wife's avera, right? Yishol achosa is a prohibition on a man to have relations with 2 sisters, not a prohibition on me or on a woman to allow her sister to have relations with her man. So I'd say that prohibition only pertains to the man, not to the woman, right? Imayu nidos mishum nida, if there was nida as well, so hayin tamne, then you have 8 on each side. They add on 2, 1 for a man, 1 for the woman, that's 8. Hain, maybe I was wrong about that actually before. I take that back. It sounds like actually 6, going up to 6, does in fact put the prohibition on both the husband and wife. Because each time you're adding by 2, and to add 2 adds on both husband and wife. So I take that back, I was wrong. I was just making the wrong math. When it goes up to each couple chayiv 2 is for invitation, just of neighbor's wife. Each couple chayiv 4 is if it's neighbor's wife plus their brothers. Each chayiv couple, another 6 is if neighbor's wife, brother's wife, and sisters, right? And it's a prohibition on the sisters to provide themselves as objects for the men in that case. Now, add another 2 if they're nidos. That's 8 and 8, that's 16. Hank Donim. Now, what about if the guys were minors? Hank Dolos, but the girls were adults. So what's that case? So in that case, Pturin. They're exempt. The reason why they're exempt is because the marriage is not a valid marriage, right? The whole concept of marriage is only as adult male can contract a marriage, and if they were minors, so the whole marriage is out the window. So it's just licentious behavior, of course. It's relations out of wedlock, right. But it's not. There's no prohibition which generates a chiyuv from a carbon in that case, right? What about the word mikulan, the ptur mikulan? They're exempt. Hang doim v'hang ketanos. What if the men are good adults and they are ketanos, but they are minors? So chayav in that case the chayav shtaim, or the korban has just shtaim. Korban shtaim he has just shtaim. Mishum nidos. So in that case also, all bets are off. The marriage is contract, not valid marriages. But of course, nida still pertains, and that's prohibited because nida even is on a minor, a girl. If the father married them off, however, which of course is a possibility, and then it's a marriage to Raisa, then we jack up to 8 prohibitions again. What if one of the guys was an adult, and the other guy was a minor, right? And he fell asleep in a cotton, so the one had relations from the minor, but was married to the adult. So she's chai because she was raised somebody's wife. She was the adult's wife. And the one that had relations with the adult, however, she's exempt because she's the wife of a minor, and she's nobody's wife, in fact, since that's the case. Rabbi Yirmiyah said a fascinating halacha. He said, Anusa, a woman who is raped, she does not have to wait 3 months in order to get married. Now, as you know, most women, when they get divorced, all women, they get divorced, have to wait 3 months before getting married again, right? Why do they have to wait 3 months? Am I pregnant from the previous, and why not a rape victim? So the Korban of Pnei Moshe says because rape victims don't get pregnant. But
so they're going on the outside.
Yeah. But the Korban Eda says because it's a milsud lo shchicha lo goes to Rabbanan. That's also the outside. It was not prevalent, so the rabbis didn't make a gzeira on it.
Too many rapes.
Right, there were too many rapes in the old days. But I think the pshat is looking at the Gemara a little bit further. That the Gemara asks, what about our Mishnah? It says Marfishon some shlosh chodashim shemu parosein. Our Mishnah says we separate them for 3 months. Maybe they're pregnant. Our Mishnah talking about rapes. not necessarily about consensual relations. So that's why only they weren't suitable to give birth, and only then Machzir somebody had to go back immediately. So Shani Yochid Tikun Avlad. Then here's the fundamental thing. You're because we want to know if the kid's a mamzer or not. That's the way I have to do it. But if a woman is unmarried and she gets raped, so her kid can't be a mamzer.
Oh.
Right? If she's married, born out of wedlock, it's not a mamzer. So therefore, I think in that case, that's why we didn't require the 3 months. Right? A regular wave victim, because he's not going to be a mamzer anyway.
Oh.
It's going to have aspersions on him, but it's not going to be a mamzer. He can marry any Jewish girl, or if he's a girl, she marry any Jewish boy. So therefore, we didn't bother to make the wife wait for 3 months. Okay? Again, on a free, unencumbered woman who's raped, we didn't require a wait of 3 months because it's not necessary to know in order to know whether the kid is kosher or not.
So it's like a rape by a stranger.
I just didn't think that 3 months is dependent on the issue of knowledge. Just to distinguish parenting.
Yeah.
Paternity.
You might be right according to the Bible. It's not the Yerushalmi thing, though.
Once you're mentioning that, truthfully, I was surprised that this Gemara didn't comment about Commission discussing Nida, which has nothing to do with the marital situation.
Well, the Tanoim do that a lot of times.
Attacking on.
They want to count up. They want to count up korbanos.
How come they didn't say they did it on Yom Kippur and then sometimes?
Okay, the Gemara sometimes does that. Yeah, well, that's all right. You're right. Says Gemara, Rabbi Yossi Zosameres. Shanusim post. I'm sorry, I skipped. Emil Kohanos nipsal min hakuna. It said in our mission that if they're Kohanos, they're rejected from the kuna. Our relatives of Mersha onsim postlim bekuna. It should be be'eshesish, which of course is true. Even if eshesish is raped, the wife of a Kohen is raped. So tough luck. She's got to get divorced. Okay. Next part. Hakoyet tzivimto. You did chalitza on your vama, and you named this move parents you found she was pregnant. So Viola, and she gave birth. If the child is a viable child, so the chalitza is null and void. Now is null and void to such an extent, it's as if you never had did the chalitza, right? And therefore, you're allowed to marry her relatives. I mean, she's allowed to marry your relatives, which would be forbidden if the chalitza was valid, because chalitza is like a kinyan. It's like it's as if you're married to her, and therefore once you're married to her, you're not allowed to marry her relatives, and she's not allowed to marry your relatives again, right? But since it's null and void, so it doesn't matter. She's not exempt, not ran out fit for kuna.
It said there was no Zika to begin with.
Right, one could say there's no Zika, which might even be a better spot where I said. That's very good. When the child is not a viable child or a child or whatever, who also B'krova said, and the chalitza was valid, and he's forbidden to marry her relatives. He also B'krova, and he's forbidden to marry his relatives. And she is rejected from marrying a kohen because the chalitza was a valid chalitza. Says more b'shavar. Now it sounds like this chalitza is this chalitza was b'diavad. In other words, should not have gone during 3 months into the chalitza. He actually should have waited until after 3 months in order to do chalitza. Okay? That sounds like b'diavad. But we don't allow to do chalitza within 3 months. Dimas Nisa, it's like this. It's like this mission. It says, "Hayavama lo tachlotz v'otis yarbeim." Yavama should undergo neither chalitza nor yibum ad sheyelo shlosh chodashim until she has 3 months after her marriage. Says, well, why? Why not? But tachlotz miyad, let her do chalitza immediately. Manashoch. No matter what, it shouldn't bother us. Im ben kayamahu. If the kid turns out to be a valid kid, or she's pregnant for her husband, the kid turns out to be a valid kid. Chalitza is ineffective. If the kid is not a valid kid, so why not do chalitza immediately? And if it works, it works. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. So Rabbi Zir, Rabbi Chia, Rabbi Yochanan said, we don't have to go around announcing, that she really was okay for the marriage going. In other words, we do not, because that will cause all sorts of problems. Well, either now she's okay to marry a Kohen and not okay to marry a Kohen, but we don't want to go counting and change our minds about it. It looks bad. Right, but Rabbi Yaakov Yosha said another, the same reason, we shouldn't need to re-announce her status vis-a-vis a Kohen. Rabbi Yeshua, Tani Rabbi Yeshua, we learned a Bryce already says, may not be a different reason. My Yevama refused to do Yibum to me, that's when you do Chalitza. Whenever we say to a guy, do Yibum, then we can say to him, if you don't do Chalitza. If we can't tell him to do Yibum, we can't tell him to do Chalitza. And when is the first time we tell him to do Yibum? When's the earliest we can tell him to do Yibum? 3 months. So therefore, till then, we can't tell him to do Chalitza. We don't do Chalitza previously. What's the difference between the reasons? The one reason which shows that we don't want to make announcements and re-announcements for Kuna, and the other reason which we said has to do with only way you can step to the plate for Yibum, you can step to the plate for Chalitza. So in one case, it's Hoysuk Shera, where before she married the brother, she was kosher. But in her marriage to the first brother already, she became defiled from the Kuna. Could go to Amana Kohen Gadol, such as she was an Amana who married a Kohen Gadol, or the older brother, the brother died was a Kohen Gadol, and of course now she can no longer marry Kohen again anyway. A Grusha Chalitza Kohen Elliot, or the older brother was a Rayla Kohen, and she was a divorcee or already on the Gana Chalitza, so therefore she wasn't allowed to be married to him, right? Now she was. But the bottom line is she wasn't supposed to be married to him. So since she wasn't supposed to be married to him, so she's rendered her fit to Kuna anyway. So if the whole issue of waiting Chalitza is in order not to have to change the mind when we renounced her kahunaship, so therefore that shouldn't apply in this case. However, if it's only once you're at the plate for even you do Chalitza, it applies in this case as well. Okay? And that's it says here. Mandamar which is clear about announcing the Kuna. Vizuhoil Venetzer she doesn't need an announcement. Any which is possible. The Kuna, and therefore for priesthood, and therefore Chalitza, you can do Chalitza. Mandamar Shomri Lo Yabem or Milo Chalot. He who says that only when you say Yibum, you say Chalitza, and Chalitza, she can't do Chalitza until after 3 months. Now, Chalitza done it so early till every fine. So it says the Gemara, and Ishmina Minadol, it's sort of from here. Ketana Shel Chalitza. You have a young girl, minor, who did Chalitza. Tachlot Mishatach, she does Chalitza again when she grows up. Because the Chalitza wasn't valid when she was young. She wasn't valid Chalitza, right? So I do it again. Below Chalitza, what if she didn't do it? Chalitza is still good. Even though she didn't want to she was a minor, it's still good. Yeah. Okay? She's supposed to wait till she's no, but she didn't, it's good. Armor last time.
You can't, don't say that she's not a das.
You don't need das for Chalitza, just have to untie the shoe.
No, but true, it's a mechanical act, but she need to make the decision that she's doing Chalitza.
Why? Who said?
Oh, that's right.
He made the decision. It takes 2 to tango. In this case, actually only 1, but the other one. Okay? So Amara Marla Star Mary Mona said without attribution, Rabbi Yitzhak Breder of Chiyah Mati Baba Shem Rabbi Yechon. Saying Rabbi Yechon Rabbi Mary. Rabbi Mary said, Ein Cholzin es Aktana Shema Timotzi Ayum. Rabbi Yam is Aktana. Don't do Chalitza Yivma. And a minor Shem Timotzi is because maybe she'll be found to be sterile. Now maybe not. Right? So what happens if he did do it even though you're not supposed to? Come on, just like you said over there, Havisha Cholza. Even though she did Chalitza already, Choletza should do it over again when she grows to be an adult. Despite the fact that the one she did when she was a child is okay. V'achanam here to Havisha Cholza Choletzes. Even though she Chalitza will be within the 3 months, she should do it again when she be after 3 months. So there she does it when she's a minor, and then again when she's an adult. So to here, 34 months, do it after 3 months. Rabbi Yehuda by Chalatz Lo Muberes Vi Pila. What if you did Chalitza when she was pregnant and then she miscarried? The time we did the Chalitza shouldn't have been valid, right? Well, maybe later on, does it work retroactively? The Shemina Mez, let's send out from here. Aresha makes the person die, V'nech Sishna Muberes. And that is why pregnant. Yochate is cool because there's Zika in that case, Liyavam. Mr. Zuger, you know what Zika is by now?
Yeah, it means the attachment, it's like a commitment even though nothing's happened.
Right. Was that in the article?
Yeah.
Go they have a glossary there?
No, it's at the introduction. It goes through.
On the introduction? Yeah. Okay. So, the Shemei the guy died and left his wife pregnant. Yochate is cool, Yavam, she have to go to the Yavam. No. We've got to go to somebody who's in danger of his name being erased from the Jewish people. As Shmo Machui, a guy whose name is erased. Yotzes Hashem Shmo Machui, his name is not erased. He's got a kid in the womb, right? Yochte Mutas say, so okay, so maybe she can get married immediately, right? Says the Gemara, no, Talmud Lomar Lochin Lochin Shem Yisrael. It's still dangling because the other man, top of Chav Gimel Rav, he says they still have a name for their brother in Israel. Achetatim Ben Kayama, who made him Ben Kayama, say, know if the kid is viable or not. Yochel have H's Saris Canis. This pertains to, I'm sorry. What about the wife of a eunuch, person who's castrated or can't have children? Even though she has to undergo evil. No, sorry about somebody. His name should not be blotted out from Israel. Not some of his name is already blotted out. Yotazeh, suppose this guy should be Sheshmo Mochu, his name is already blotted out. Now, so it's got to do Chalitza again, in any event. Says the Gemara, Yochel Omer Tzorosa Muteras Sinasei. This is a separate question. According to Ribaz, it's a separate question. If the woman gets a chalitza within 3 months, she's got to do it again after 3 months. She can't get married anyway until after 3 months are over. What about her tzara? What about the tzara? Also can't get married after 3 months. Just like she can't get married 3 months. So what about the co-wife? The co-wife also has to wait till 3 months, right? So it says the Gemara. So let's prove from here. If somebody marries his Yevama, right? And then she's found to be muberis, right? She's found to be pregnant, so now he's in trouble. So so there, actually, most of the cases not here. So that case where you took in your Yevama and she was found to be pregnant, so she can't get married to the marketplace, and
why can't she get married?
What?
Why can't she get married in the market?
Because we have to wait for the kid to see if the kid is viable. Okay, and there also the co-wife can't get married. Why? Just like you said over there, the co-wife can't get married. It's a special halacha. She's going to be mutter no matter what, either because there's a kid or because her co-wife underwent yibum. So she's going to be muteris anyway, no matter what. But still, she has to wait. She has to wait until she sees what's matir. The co-wife who did have the yibum or the pregnancy, which you don't know which one. Why is that? Just like you say, just like you say over there, the tzar, the co-wife cannot get married until she knows why she's mutter. She can't say, I don't, whether pregnancy or with the relations. She can't say, I don't know why I'm mutter, but I'm mutter, let me go get married. No. So to here, ab chalutza came to the chalitza. The woman who's tzara can't say, I don't know if this chalitza which my co-wife is doing within 3 months works. But l'maisa she did chalitza. Let me out of here. I want to go. No, she's got to wait until the val chalitza after 3 months is done. Even the val chalitza d'Rabbanan is done after 3 months, because she's got to know with definitiveness that she's mutter. Before she starts marrying out, okay?
Yeah, but she's mutter either way. She's either because
doesn't matter. Either way, it doesn't help.
Has a baby or has had chalitza.
That's chiddush. It's not sufficient. That's what it says here. Chalitza p'tur, bia p'tur. Chalitza is exemption, bia is a exemption. Not saying bia kachat amar b'chalitza. Just like you said about bia, so they say about chalitza the same thing. You just got to know for sure what it is. Even though she knows for sure she's going to mutter, it's not she doesn't know for sure what it is. It's probably in the Rabbanan, not at the Raisa, but that's the thing.
Now, what happens to the marriage if, let's say, she has a viable child?
Yeah.
So what happens to that marriage?
The yibum is avera. No. It doesn't work. It's avera.
Right. So then what happens?
Yes, to tshuva.
It's Os marriage.
Yom Kippur. Yeah, it's ice marriage.
Yeah, right.
They split.
Get a
Splitsville.
divorce?
No divorce.
No divorce.
The marriage never was.
No, it never took place. Just walk away from it. Okay, Shmuel, now we're shifting gears. Shmuel, we'll just go a couple more minutes. Shmuel Zachin Lubar. Shmuel says, I can sell is not the right word. Transfer possession of an object to a fetus. You can't do transfer possession of an object to a fetus. So it says in Rabbi Yossi even though he said it works for Ubarin, fascinating war. It's only once. It's only if his head or most of his torso comes out alive. Now the Ritbaz says at that point it works mikanol habol mafreya. It works from the time, let's say, the schia took place 3 months earlier, right? So if the schia is contingent the whole time, if when the kid is born, the kid is viable, then it works retroactively from the time of the schia. If the kid is not viable, then it never worked. Okay? So that's called in the yeshivish nomenclature, mikanol haba, from the time the kid is born, from there on in, or mafreya retroactively as well. Okay? So that's the way it works. So it says the Gemara Dimas Nisa, and it's like this Mishnah: is muberes. If somebody does chalitza and is yibam and finds that she is pregnant, right? Lo naga b'chalitza, just like you say over there. But now in the case of chalitza, that retroactively the chalitza was null and void, even though he did the chalitza to her because she had a kid. He can't. So to here it's the same thing. The mafreya. Mafreya, who she is, he acquires it retroactively. Now, Thomas even learned over there. If somebody says, if my wife gives birth to a male, then get $100. Yolda Zachar no Tamana. If it's a male, the kid gets $100 because it sounds like Mizaklu Barim. In the case of say if she's a female, let her get $200. Yolda came with those times, saying the same thing, right? Mizaklu Barim. Rabbi Lezer argues, says, Lomar el beno. He says it's only on your own son, ha'acher lo. Not for anybody else's kid. Can't just do it to any fetus, only your own kid. Rabbi Yosef feel acher, it's only even to another kid you can do it as well. I died to Rabbi Lezer. Now Rabbi Lezer who lives with your own kid obviously holds it's only ta'akona d'Rabbanan. Because if it's work the right, it should work for everybody. So if it's only d'Rabbanan, so it only works also, the Gemara surmises, only if the guy is dying. Because in other words, it's a favor to a dying guy, should be able to transfer property to his kid. But not if the person is healthy. And also, Levad says more Misvara, only works in Metaltlin. It only works in movable objects, which anyway could have transferred it bodily, had you taken the time and the effort. But you didn't, you're allowed to transfer it verbally, right? So, but by land, it doesn't work. Okay, I think we'll stop here for tonight. And we'll pick up here again tomorrow. We gained a little bit of ground for the first time in many weeks.